get us recording, and I will kick things off with a little talk about converting free readers into paid readers. And this is a concept that I've heard a little bit about in the past. And now I have learned a little bit more about it. It's interesting. It's the kind of thing that if you decide to utilize this process, you need to be very, very consistent. I have not done this yet, mainly because I've been in the process of interviewing people for my next virtual summit, and haven't wanted to start something that I haven't been able to be consistent with. But this is very definitely on my agenda to get going. So I presume everybody has heard of free services or services where you can release your books or chapters or whatever for free, such as Wattpad. It's been around forever, right? Everybody's familiar with Wattpad? Yes, no? Okay, so I have never used Wattpad. I've had some friends that had used Wattpad to release free copies of new books, mainly to get eyes on the copy and, with luck, get some reviews when it was released on Amazon. I don't have personal experience with doing that, so I don't know how effective it is for getting reviews. But what I was talking to an author the other day who is quite successful, not a USA Today bestselling author, but still quite successful. And she had like a few years ago been releasing, when she was in college, releasing chapter by chapter short stories and novellas for free on Wattpad. And her boyfriend kept saying, "You have so many followers and they just love what you're writing. Why aren't you monetizing that?" And so she started looking into it. She didn't want to start charging the people who had been reading for free because she was getting good feedback from them. But she did understand how important it would be to hold on just a second. Candy, I'm going to mute you. Okay. She did understand how important it could be to have people pay her for what she was sending out. And she started out on Patreon, although she said that she had some issues with that because she was a steamy romance author, and although she did not violate any of the terms of service, a couple of different times they closed her down. And so she ended up going over to Ream. And with these, you know, Patreon, Ream, I think there's some other ones out there. You can actually set up tiers where people are willing to pay you on a monthly basis for a benefit. And it could be $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month. I think the maximum tier I've heard about is $100 a month. And I do know some people over in England who actually have some patrons that pay them $100 a month for the extra bonuses that they get. That I think is a very interesting concept, that you can have people who are willing to pay you every single month for, it might be early access to chapters that you are writing in your draft. This person I talked to recently said that that's what she does for $5 a month. They get access to that draft a week early. $10 a month they get 2 weeks early, and $25 a month they get like 3 or 4 chapters early. So that was an interesting thing to me. You get paid from people, and maybe the bonus is merchandise, maybe it's autographed copies. It could be something about a once a month meeting with the author to discuss their work in progress. There's a lot of different ways that you can set up bonuses for these people who are willing to pay you on a monthly basis. And what interested me about this woman that I talked to is she had, I think it was a little over 800 patrons paying her anywhere from $5 a month to $25 a month, and she was bringing in about $5,000 a month just from those patrons. And it's like, gee whiz, I don't make that much from my books when I sell them. So that might be an interesting avenue to explore a little bit more for anyone who's interested in, who is, first of all, able to be very consistent in producing their writing, or, as I said, perhaps the bonus would be meeting with the author on a Zoom call once a month to discuss a work in progress. That's really kind of nice, because that way readers can actually give you some input on your work in progress, which I know that sometimes when you get to a block, it's like, I really don't know which way I want to go in this story. That might be very helpful. And it really invests the reader too, because they feel like they had something to do with the writing of the book. I know for my last book, I had 2 or 3 covers that I was looking to use. And so I put it out to my readers. What cover do you like best? And I had all kinds of input from people of why they liked a particular cover better than another. So, things like that can be very helpful. And, really, when you think about it, $5 or $10 or even $25 a month is not a lot to ask for something, for them to receive something in return that they find of value. And that might be something as easy as getting chapters read before the book is finished, or before it's available to anybody else. So if you don't want to put your work up for free on Wattpad or another one of those free services, if you have an email list, that would be a good place to just start sending out an email saying, I'm starting a subscription service on this particular subscription service. The tiers are $5, $10, $15 a month. And for the different tiers, this is what you would get if you make that commitment to support me and continue my writing career. So that was my great idea to bring to everybody this month. And I would be happy to discuss if anybody has questions about it, or to listen to some of the ideas that each of you are using to promote your books. I'm opening it up for discussion. Everybody can unmute themselves. Remember, whoever is talking has full screen. And if you don't want to be on the screen, you can simply turn off your camera and ask your question, and then just your name will show. Okay.
Sorry, I'm eating my lunch. That's why my camera's off.
Oh, okay.
I have
Gail.
a question for you, Paula. Okay.
Okay.
So I write sweet Regency romance fiction. My readers tend to skew in the older ages.
Okay.
And so even though I think the idea of having a monthly meeting with readers on Patreon would be very cool to do, I'm not sure any of my readers are there. No, I'm wondering if anyone has any statistics about age groupings and like who uses Patreon. I have a feeling it's probably younger readers, maybe. I could be wrong.
That I have absolutely no idea of. That might be something that you could, just Google the information. There is so much information that's out there. Maybe if you contact Patreon directly, they might be able to have that information for you. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Zoom call. In fact, I don't even know personally, I don't know if Patreon has that Zoom capability. You might have to set up a Zoom or a Skype, but you can even just do a phone call now. And I also think don't make the assumptions that because readers are older that they don't know the internet. I am 70 years old, and
you're younger than I am.
And so, although there's a lot I don't know how to do, I am kind of destination oriented, but here I am building websites.
Here we are.
Building websites and on Zoom, and so don't make those assumptions. If they're on your email list, send out an email and ask how many of you, do a poll. How many of you use Zoom or Skype or, I don't know how easy it would be to do something on an email basis. And I don't know that that would be a real great benefit there, other than perhaps releasing chapters early via email. But the best thing I would suggest is poll your readers and find out. And if you decide to use a site such as Wattpad, I don't know how many extra readers you might pick up there, but obviously they would be a little bit more internet savvy, I would think, if they're already using that.
Right. Yeah. Well, good advice. Thank you. That's helpful.
So any other questions? And I'd love to find out what everybody else is doing as far as promotion. That's what this is open discussion about what's working and what's not working.
Can you hear me? This is Shelley.
Yes, Shelley, I can hear you.
Okay, I launched last week. I think I was wildly unprepared. And I have a list of about 30 something people. And I sent out a mailer light. And I had just my loyal couple of friends or so who were available to call me. Some of it's time zone differences, but I'm in Arizona. But I'm just feeling like I'm missing some things. And I've been so frustrated. And I don't know if this is off topic, but it sure does slow things down. I've been trying to get on Apple, Barnes and Noble, and all the other book vendors. And I got good news yesterday. I'm now accepted as a Goodreads author, so that's exciting. But I am just having the worst time. I got accepted to Apple, and then I went in to change my prices to have the prices better. And I went on 5, 6 different times. And by the time I get to the end of, changing the prices, I put it on retail, and now I want to make it 99 cents for a while. And by the time I got to the thing and hit submit, it says you've exceeded your time. I went over and over and over. I feel like I'm running around like a mouse in a wheel, and it is making me so crazy. It kills hours and also my good enthusiasm. Does anyone have suggestions?
Yes, Shelley.
Yes.
Don't go to those places individually. Go on to Draft to Digital. If you upload to Draft, it's Draft with the number 2 Digital, you can upload once to them and choose which other bookstores you want to be on. And the iStore is one of them. Barnes and Noble is another one. I think they've got like 10 of them or something like that. And you can do ebooks or print books. So that's one way to get out to a lot of different stores. I mean, you can even do Amazon through there, although usually people will do Amazon separately. But Draft to Digital, you can go on there, get into all these different bookstores, and it's a lot easier than trying to do each one separately.
I thank you. What I figure I'll have a second book out in the next month. Do I do that with Draft to Digital then? To put it on. And the part of my issue has been I'm using a pen name, and they want so it's a proof and all sorts of crazy stuff.
No, I use a pen name also. Paula Judith Johnson is my pen name, and I have my books up through Draft to Digital and direct onto Amazon as Paula Judith Johnson. And that's not an issue. I don't know if you have registered with the Library of Congress, but I suggest you do that. And that's where you register your legal name.
Well, actually, I checked with a lawyer, and he said I could register with my pen name. And and I just yesterday got my first, used to take months. They must be whisking through, because only about a month or so ago, they got my thing on my first book. And I've got my authorization that I'm legal now.
Okay, that's great. And what I meant with your legal name, because Library of Congress shows, for me, it shows both Paula Judith Johnson as the author, and it shows Teresa Brown as being the owner of the copyright. So, Draft to Digital, I know that I get paid through my legal name, even though everything shows by my pen name. So, it's been a while since I've set anything up there. But it seems to me that, when you go through the payment processing portion of it, that's where you put your legal name and attach, a PayPal well, in fact, I think probably what I did was attach my PayPal, which I have a PayPal under Paula Judith Johnson, but in that PayPal, it's attached to my legal name bank. So it can get convoluted, can't it?
Yeah, thank you so much. I have been just going out of my mind.
Yeah,
And-
and anything
yeah.
that you have put up on the other ones already, you can put that up on Draft to Digital and just exclude those ones that you have already uploaded
Okay,
on Draft to Digital. Because with Draft to Digital, you choose which bookstores you want to be in. So if you've uploaded something individually, you can either take it down and move it over to Draft to Digital, or when you go into Draft to Digital, you just exclude whatever bookstores you're already on.
okay, thank you. I was just, it's been back and forth. I think, oh, yay, they've accepted my book. It was like, my God, am I, leaking state secrets or something? They finally put me on, and then I go on all happy, and it's late at night, and it's quiet. And after 6 times, I was ready to punch the phone, the something. It's like, and it just ruins your vibe for writing. I mean, I'm trying to finish up a reader magnet that I put on my website, and I've sent out to my list, and I'm working to finish that. And I have book 2 already edited, and there's just so much involved. When am I going to get a chance to write? It's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited because people are loving my book. And that's the other thing. You were having a workshop on how to get people to provide reviews, and that seems to be an issue. I'm really scrounging to get them. I launched with only 2 reviews.
Yeah. That, Derek Depker
I've
put
heard
together
too.
that 5-day book review challenge. And, for like $15, it is really worth taking that challenge and learning how to. I think he's got 2 upsells in there. One of them is an additional $8.50, and the other one is an additional $25. But even just the basic $15 book review challenge, 5-day book review challenge, is really worth the money. So I'll be sending out emails on that for the next through Friday, I guess it is. So
thank you very much, Paula. And I appreciate sharing, and get well. I know how hard it is. I'm still recovering from a carpal tunnel surgery.
That makes writing really hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm persevering.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Shelley.
And I'm even older.
Oh, okay. And whoever made the comment that I look great for 70, well, thank you very much. I think I have the Zoom set to blur my wrinkles or something.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Bobby, it's so good to hear from you. I think that we are on a couple other things together. I think that don't you go on to like the pub crawl with Ray Brem? I think that I see your name there too. Yep. Yeah. Well, and I've never seen your picture, so I don't know what you look like, but it's good to see you here. So do we have any other comments that we can discuss about book marketing?
Well, I wanted to actually tack on something to your advice to Shelley. My books are wide, and I have Amazon, and mine were on Smashwords, and now they're on Draft to Digital because it bought them out.
Right.
But besides, 2 things for Shelley. One is I would recommend that you take down the ones that you put up individually, because once you have 2 books out there, or you have 3 books out there, you continue writing, you need to keep track, and it's going to be really hard to remember that first book wasn't all done through Draft to Digital, and you have like 2 other distributors that are separately, independently. One of the beauties of using, they take a teeny little bit of money out in return for the service, but it's worth it because it's much easier for your record keeping and keeping track of, as you said, if you want to go in and change your prices, or anything that you need to do, you want to go back in and change your back matter in your books. If you have them all through a basket like Drafted Digital, it makes your life easier. And you won't have to try to remember, oh, wait, that first book, they're not all in there. I have to remember where I put them. You know, it just makes your record keeping easier. So I recommend it also for that reason. And you get one pay every month from them instead of an assortment of different little bits of money from a whole bunch of different places. It just makes everything simpler for you.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Gail, because a lot of places have a minimum that you have to have earned before they pay out. And when you have them all aggregated together, it's a lot easier to meet those minimums. Plus, I believe you only get one 1099 at the end of the year. I don't think that you get one from all the separate ones. I think you get just the one from Draft Digital, which
That's
makes
correct.
sense.
correct.
Nice. If you're having a sale, you can drop the price just in one place on D2D. You don't have to go to all the individual sites to do that. My only cautionary statement would be with D2D, when you go through Kobo, Kobo has a lot of international sites that they partner with, and they can be super, super slow to take down books. So say, for example, you're wide and you decide to go into Kindle Unlimited. You can't go into Kindle Unlimited until they're off of all the international retailers. So just kind of pay attention to what you are actually signing up for, rather than just a blanket click for everything.
That's excellent advice, because I just ran into that with a book that I put into, it was like my very first novel. I put it into Kindle Unlimited, and darn, here it had been there for about 4 months. And I get a thing from Kindle Unlimited saying that I had not taken it down from every place. And it turned out that it was actually Smashwords, not Drafted Digital. But as Gail had said, those two have merged now. And man, I thought I was going to go to jail or something the way Kindle came to me saying, you know, you have 5 days to get that down, and if you don't, and so I sent them a thing saying, well, you know, I couldn't help it, that, you know, I've asked them to take it down, and then they came back to me saying, well, this isn't even the one we were talking about. We were talking about this one over here. And then, you know, when they sent me the correct link, then I was able to get it down. But yeah, that's also really important to be able to go to one place and get things down when you want them down, whether that's for recovering or going into Kindle Unlimited or anything like that.
And then I'm not familiar with the ARC challenge, excuse me, ARC challenge that you guys just talked about, but there are some really simple ways with a couple of different sites where there's no challenge needed. You can just load your files on there and start building your ARC team with very minimal effort. So I'm not sure what that challenge was, but that sounds like a lot more steps than you need when there are sites already available where you can do it with very minimal effort.
Yeah, and I believe that in this challenge, it not only discloses what a lot of these sites are, but it kind of walks you through the whole process and gives you a structured means for doing that. But, you know, for somebody who has done that a few different times, you know, they have it down pat.
But I mean, like, I grew an ARC team on Booksprout for 2 different pen names very quickly by just making them open ARCs. Like, there wasn't a lot of steps involved.
Yeah, and good advice. Okay, anybody else have things to share? We still have about 20 minutes left, and I'd love to hear from everybody.
I have my hand raised.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Nikki.
That's okay. Actually, I wanted to follow up on that with Celeste. Is it like some top secret, you have to have the right retinal scan and secret doorknob handshake to be able to find these sites? Because I'm launching my first in November, and I'm part of an anthology that will be released on October 1st. And so now this is where I'm ramping up the marketing, and I've got a handful of reviews ready to get published. I asked them in advance. So I was like, okay, so I don't have to rush you at the end, at the finish line. can you please have a review ready for me? And they've done that. That's great. So I have about 10 of those, but you know, more is better on this. And I would love it if you would share where else, where can I do these open ARC things?
So there's a couple different ways to do this. And I want to start with the cautionary tale of I had no idea how to get reviews when I first got started. I read an article that said, find the top reviewers on Amazon and see if you can find an email address for them and send them an email and ask. Not the way to go. But if you're in authorly Facebook groups, there's plenty of information about Story Origin, BookFunnel, and Booksprout, which are the top 3. I prefer Booksprout personally, but you can find ARC readers on all 3, and you can make them open options. So I use Booksprout, and when I first was growing my Celeste Barkley brand 5 years ago, and then started growing my Sabine Barkley brand last year, I was able to upload my files into Booksprout and just say it was open. So anybody who found it was able to download it. But I could also close it so that it's by invite only. Only the people who have the link can get to it. But you put in your category information, you can put in a message to readers, you put in your blurb, all of that to try and make sure that it's funneled down to the right readers, that the right people are finding you. And, you know, just like any ARC building experience, even with folks that you know, sometimes you get a really great, useful review. Sometimes, you know, maybe not so articulately written, right? Or smoothly written, but it's still a review. It's still counting towards the numbers that people see when they're checking out your book, and it's giving you legitimization. It's giving you basically social proof. So there's different tiers as well, but you can try most of them for free and see if it works for you. My preference, like I said, is Booksprout, but BookFunnel and Story Origin are 2 well-vetted, well-respected resources. And again, if you're in authorly Facebook groups, you know, search ARC and see what comes up from previous posts.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful. Can I sneak in one more question?
Yes, of course.
So I've got both of these books are up for pre-order on Amazon. When should I start having the folks actually publish their reviews? Because I didn't want it to be too far out so that it looks like, you know, my mother wrote it or something. When do you recommend having those go live?
So you cannot have anybody post a review on Amazon until the product is actually live. So you can start asking people to create their reviews. They can put their review on Goodreads and on BookBub as soon as you have the books listed on either of those sites. But when it comes to Amazon, it's not possible. They will not allow you to review a product that is not actively available for purchase. So a pre-order is not actively available. They can't receive it that day. So they have to, your reviewers have to wait until it's live for them to place it there. But other retailers have different policies, and some of them you can post reviews before the book is live. But Goodreads and BookBub are 2 sites for sure where you can have reviews up well in advance of the book releasing, and that can help push pre-orders.
So would this be an okay time to have them there? It's how many months am I? 5 months? No, I can't count.
Yeah, I mean, you can
November.
start having the reviews go up whenever they're available. That way they're there and populated on release day. You can also start asking people to add your book to their wish list or their want to read, and that helps as well. So anywhere where you can start building the momentum and getting your book visible to people is a good way to go. And I don't think there's too early a time to start.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And of course, it's always very important as you are building your email list to keep people apprised of where you're at with that. So if you're putting pre-orders up on various places, you know, especially like with Goodreads, saying, you know, go ahead and add it to your wish list. You know, I'm just absolutely amazed at email subscribers to authors. They want to know what the heck is happening. They want to know what's happening to us personally. They want to know what's happening with our writing process. So be sure to be building an email list. If you haven't started already, be sure to do that. You might consider doing like a contest or giveaway to build your email list. And there are free ones online that I am not familiar with because I use KingSumo myself, but you can build these things where you are giving away, but people have to give you their email address in order to get your book. So, you know, make sure you build an email list. Go ahead, Celeste.
So with KingSumo, I use KingSumo too. I do really big raffles for releases, like they get a big box of stuff. If you're doing paperback ARCs or e-ARCs, ebook ARCs, KingSumo can work really well. There's Rafflecopter as well, but even easier than that is BookFunnel and StoryOrigin. They have promos to help you specifically build your newsletters. That's what they're there for. So sometimes they're promos for sales, but most of the time they're newsletter builders. And so you're joining in with other people in your genre, and the agreement is you'll share about this promo in your newsletter, and so will the other people who are participating. So it's getting your books in front of more people. So, you know, that's an option for you. I highly recommend that you have some type of loss leader or lead magnet, depending on what your background is. You may recognize either or both of those terms, but basically it's something short that you give away for free as an enticement, as opposed to the actual book you're going to sell, which you can make money off of by not giving it away in order for a newsletter sign up. So you can create something short, depending on your genre. It could be a short story, it could be an extra epilogue, it could be a novella, things like that. I have a reader's guide to my flagship series that I use. There's all different kinds of options, but you know, depending on what type of raffle you want to run, sometimes those sites can get costly. So just look, because BookFunnel and StoryOrigin do have some free options. So.
Yeah. And that's why I had, and this was 3 years ago, purchased KingSumo outright. And it's not like the KingSumo app. Every once in a while I find that and it's like, oops, that's not what I have. But that's a program I actually have on my website. And once you purchase that and it's on your website, it doesn't cost you anything to run your promotions. So, and you can run those as solo promotions or as joint promotions. So I have done both. So that's kind of an interesting thing there. But yeah, promotions are a great way to build your email list. Doing author swaps with other authors that have a very similar subgenre as you would be another way of building an email list. And with that, you know, you are creating your landing page where a person gives their name and email address in order to download your book for free or for 99 cents or for whatever. And the other author does the same thing. And you send out to your email list, they send out to their email list, and people are able to sign up to the other email list. I think about half of my email list I acquired that way, and other ways through raffles and things like that. So, okay. So what you can do is various ways, but since we're all here from Romance Dreamweavers, go on to Romance Dreamweavers, create a post, give a short description of your book, maybe put the cover on there, say that you're looking to do an email swap with another author that has a similar type of book, and see if we can't get you some email swaps that way. You can do a one-on-one swap. you can do a many to one swap. You know, sometimes it's worth it, and I've done this too, where you get 4 or 5 different authors together and you all send out to your email list about every other book. So that works too. Yeah. So so put a post into Romance Dreamweavers and we'll see if we can get you started there. There are a lot of Facebook groups that are specifically to promote your books. So you might take a look at some of those groups too, and join those. The ones I have seen are pretty much author after author after author after author promoting their new releases. I don't know how effective they are. I have never gone on them, but I do know that there are there are groups like that on Facebook. There are a lot of romance writing Facebook groups. So I'm quite sure that you're a member of a number of them. And if you're not, you should be. Okay, so we have about 5 more minutes. Anybody else have anything to talk about with promoting our novels? Okay, so big question for you. You're writing your first novel or your second novel, you're still in the manuscript stage. Maybe you've hit the 50% mark, maybe you haven't. Should you be promoting your book yet? There's a big question for everybody. Let's get some answers. Okay, Nikki says yes. Bobby says, Bobbery says yes. Cheryl says yes. Who else says yes? And how are we going to promote them at that time when it's not even a finished manuscript?
If you can get a cover, I think it helps.
Okay. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day. Lead magnet is a very good idea. I think she said that she has 4 or 5 different covers in her, you know, that are just sitting there that she ordered. And then the stories that she was writing ended up not going in the direction that she thought. And so here she's purchased covers that she will never use. And so I asked her, well, when do you think is a good time to purchase a cover? And she said, anytime that you're like getting very close to the end of your first draft, when you're pretty sure that the story is going to stay the story. She says, what you don't want to do is like have a political romance with a cover that has the Capitol building in the background, and then all of a sudden you decide, oh well, he's not a politician at all, he's something else. And there, you know, now you have to get a new cover. So best place to purchase the cover, you know, I would say start out, you might take a look at 100 covers, and they have some covers there. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on covers and you can spend a little money on covers. What you want is somebody who understands creating covers for your subgenre. And 100 covers is a good place to start.
Can I say something? It's Shelley again.
Yeah, you can say
Okay.
anything you
Yeah.
want.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'll be very whatever. My husband and I, through another service, tried at 100 covers. I got an okay help with it. My husband, who is dealing with time travel, and his main character is Ben Franklin, I think they use overseas graphic designers. She had no idea who Ben Franklin was. And my husband went round and round and they just couldn't give him a decent cover. So be careful if you've got something specialized like that. I'm working with someone who has some experience in the Harlequin and Hallmark worlds. And I think my cover maybe looks a little too soft because I'm steamy, and I do give a steamy romance. I do give some very explicit sex scenes. My friend that I've known since college has, well, let's just say that she was so thrilled because I lured everybody in, but I had to get the characters out there to be known. This is a multi-book series. And so she's like freaking out. She said it very politely, but she freaked out when she got to the sex scene near the end.
Oh,
So I think I'm tempted to go a little harder on the covers is what I guess I'm saying.
Yeah,
Shelley, do you write historical or contemporary?
I'm writing contemporary steamy romance.
Okay, I write highly explicit. I'm going to put a name in the chat right now that's specifically for you. I don't know what her schedule is, but she does excellent work with all different types, historical and contemporary. I'm going to give you my contemporary pen name. If you want, you can pop over to Amazon and see the covers she's done for me. go to her website, you'll see a bunch of different ones that she's done, but she's a highly reputable and quite affordable.
Yes, I
Okay.
know that there are also some Facebook groups. One that I know of that I'd have to actually go and look what it is, because I don't know off the top of my head, that cover designers put like pre-made covers up. And I think that it's not just pre-made covers, it's also they will take specific orders too. So, and you might even just Google pre-made covers and see what comes up. I don't know if you'll find what you want, but you definitely want a cover that corresponds with the heat level of your book, so
yeah.
that there aren't those surprises at the end.
Yeah. A few years ago, I was coaching people on writing and they were trying to get to books. Not everybody did, but I worked with those pre-made covers. And watch out, because say they have something that you think is totally inappropriate for font, for instance, then to change little things like that, the prices start going up. So the pre-made covers may not be so pre-made by the time you're done if you want to get things right and looking good. So just a cautionary thing there.
Right. And I have worked with individual graphic designers where I have provided them with photos that I have wanted them to use and change. I used some stock images, a stock image photo in my last book where he put on a different background. He changed the color of it, and it doesn't even look like the same stock photo. So that's another thing that if you know what your genre should look like, finding stock photos and then working with a cover designer that way can save some money too. It's when they're having to come up with everything for you that it really starts getting expensive. Okay, and we don't have any firm set time. If there's anything else, we can extend the time a little bit. I don't know if everybody can download the chat, so I will take out specific things of the chat that are pertinent to our conversation and include that with the link tomorrow. Anybody else have any comments? If not, we're going to be wrapping this up.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Okay, I
Thank you.
see Angela's busily copying things down from the chat. And by the way, you can just use your mouse to copy the chat. I think you highlight what you want and left click, I think is how it will do that. So you can, if that makes it a little bit easier. So other than that, if everybody's through looking at the chat and making comments, we can wrap it up. And I thank everybody for coming today. And Celeste, thank you for your knowledge. I think in some
Thank you.
respects, you know more than I know, but that's okay. That's what we're here for open discussion.
Well, I'm at 50 books, so I've learned a thing or two.
Yeah, well, that's a few more
Happy
than
to
me.
share. I'm happy to share. If it helps other people, then why not let folks know?
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Celeste.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.